no! Why? Are you helping, serious?
The entire point of gaming is to take a break and enjoy yourself peacefully, devoting your time to an experience you love. But what if, instead of that, you flipped the script and made a game miserable to play? Rage games, as we've grown to call them over the years, take the obscure path in game development and give you a difficult experience, excruciating gameplay, and more. Now, that sounds awful, right? What stupid person would want to subject themselves to a hard game with very few rewarding qualities? Huh. So, clearly there's a demand for these games. But what makes people gravitate toward these heavily challenging titles? One reason these games have a massive following is because of recognition by popular content creators. For years now, content creators have been sharing their experience with the Rage games, which, I can admit, gets some pretty funny reactions.
No, I'm done, I'm fucking done! Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you!
Seeing a popular content creator fall short of completing these titles may encourage their audience to pick up the Rage game in question and determine if they can beat it themselves. Because some things look easy in hindsight, when in retrospective, they most certainly are not. I was ripping my hair out watching my favorite YouTubers struggling on the first stage of Cuphead, but when I actually picked up the game for myself, I understood their struggle. Secondly, when a game holds itself to such a high standard of difficulty, most prominently Soulsborne games, any sort of achievement can feel massive. I mean, take it from this guy. Seriously, even some NPC kills will have you celebrating in Souls games. When there's a massive cult following of a hard game, you're prone to see other players have successful moments, which will push you to do the same. Every time you die, whether that be from a boss or game design in general, you keep that memory, so the next time you can avoid it. And that cycle keeps going until you eventually succeed. And this is the perfect formula that Rage games center themselves around. And I gotta say, it's pretty genius. Now, to complete this difficult challenge of balancing difficulty with enjoyment of a game, the gameplay has to flow well, have good replay value.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting. This is awful in every way. If I could kill it, I would.
This is why we see success in the Soulsborne series in games like Cuphead, Getting Over It, and more. I can speak for a lot of people when I say these games are fun to play. The thing is, if a game that's known to be an average and easy experience throws a curveball at you and presents to you an extremely difficult challenge, like some boss fight I know, it's a little unmotivating. That's the bad type of rage. A rage game has to be consistently horrendous throughout the entire experience, the same way an easygoing game should be easygoing throughout the entire experience. When you throw the difficult part into the easy part, it doesn't mix well. You're unprepared for the sudden and most likely unintentional change in difficulty, and the gameplay is unlike what you've been used to. And it's not really what you paid for, so that can easily push you away from any sort of drive to complete that title. Now that we got the formula for rage games established, let's take a quick history lesson on the developers that utilize this formula to create the rage games we know and love. In February of 2007, a Japanese game called Saibon, more commonly referred to as Cat Mario, was released. This game took the stencil of the original Super Mario Bros. Game and replaced Mario with a cat sprite. In addition to this, the levels were filled with hidden obstacles and spikes. Seriously, you won't see any of the obstacles coming.
What's happening here? What is this? Fucking blocks!
These games were simply just browser games, but they're definitely a staple in the history of rage games. Super Meat Boy, released in October of 2010 by Team Meat, was a Flash-type platforming game. You play as a red, cube-shaped character called, you guessed it, Meat Boy, and you traverse several maps with obstacles like razors and, well, mostly just razors. You solve puzzles utilizing keys and other tactics. Now, this may sound like an average platformer, but it's far from that. This game is hard. Like, really hard. This guy can advocate for me.
Break that right off the hard drive! I will single this game out and fucking kill it!
Soulsborne games have been nothing short of hard. It's hard to classify the easiest and hardest Soulsborne game, so as opposed to covering one, I'm going to cover them as a whole. Dark Souls 1, released in 2011, received generous feedback from the public, selling almost 2.5 million copies in a year and a half. That number only went up with each game. The fanbase for these games shortly became a community, and Soulsborne games became a common phrase. Complaints about this game being too hard are often drowned out by the overwhelming support for the franchise. Seriously, the Souls games created a whole new culture of gaming, and I'm glad they did. These games present a fun challenge and have amazing replay value. In October of 2017, Bennett Foddy released a game that was an homage to a game previously mentioned in this video. Basically, you play as this guy sitting in a pot with nothing but a hammer to traverse obstacles and get to the top of the mountain. The catch of this game is that with one small slip up, you're back to square one. It's a simple but addictive game, and it caught attention of a lot of YouTubers, which led to some great content, I'll say that.
Meaning in this.
No! Oh my God!
Friedrich Nietzsche.
The combination of difficult gameplay and Bennett Foddy's voiceovers are genius, honestly. You've lost everything, and this dude is trying to lecture you with some poem. It's definitely aggravating. Similar to Souls games, small achievements in this game are worth celebrating. This has to be the worst obstacle of all time. Rage games are a staple in gaming history, and they have some of the most addicting gameplay I've ever seen in my experience. I'm excited for what the future brings for this genre of games.